Hello and welcome. What the fuck? We'll just restart that. Blip, 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 blip. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Three's a Crime, a true crime podcast. I'm Tori.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Lindsey.
And that's our intro.
Here we are professional podcasters.
We're podcasters, bitches.
Okay.
Are we rolling?
I think we've got this rig rolling.
All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Three's a Crime.
There's a crime. There's a crime.
We received our first, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, kind of our first comment about like, I don't really like you guys laughing,
A bunch of girls giggling.
The giggling took away from the
Suck
story.
my dick. That's when you can suck my dick.
Yeah, so Lindsay's perspective is suck my dick. I'm trying the nicer approach of just saying, look, we totally understand that we may not be the podcast for you. And that is totally fine. There are lots of podcasts out there where it's, just one person or two people and they just tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
And we work really hard to make sure that we are never making fun of the true victims of the story. But this is some heavy shit that we are living with every day because we're, you're researching, you're telling the story. And also the three of us are very similar and we're all very different at the same time. And we do shit and say shit and mispronounce shit that makes us laugh at the others.
Yeah.
So,
or we'll make fun of the asshole.
Yeah, we love to make fun of the assholes. And I don't feel bad about that. No. So again,
I don't feel bad for telling jokes when we're trying to tell you a story at the same time.
Right. And in all honesty, I don't know, the way that my brain works, if there has to be some lightness because it's so much dark. And in all honesty, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad. If you listen and you're just like, I cannot listen to these three bitches. Fine. They laugh, they giggle, they're supposed to be talking about something so serious. We take it very seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're not the podcast for you, that's totally cool.
We won't take it personal. Go find one.
Yeah, I mean, my mom doesn't listen. Bren doesn't listen. I
Neither
don't take it personally.
Yeah, I've got, and I have, my friend Sarah is just, is not into true crime, doesn't like scary stuff.
The reason I started a podcast with you guys, because none of the people I was spending time with, I needed to talk to someone about it, and they were like, Emily, stop. And I'm like, fuck, man, it's a lot more fun to talk to someone who actually wants to talk about it, and the same way for listeners. If you want to hear it, if we're your people, high five. And if we're not your people, high five.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go live your best life.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a complaint about the audio, that is all Emily's fault. No, I'm just kidding.
Accurate.
But
I do appreciate when people tell me that.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to make it sound like we don't want to get critical comments.
Yeah.
That's not true. Feel free to send us, whatever. But specifically addressing the part, I think we all did take a little bit of offense only because it is so important to us that
we make it a big
that
thing.
We respect the people who are the victims of crimes. And and so we have podcasting friends who have been getting kind of the same feedback. We also think though that it's really funny that it seems to be the female podcasters
that get more shit
about being jokey. Nobody's being like, gee, last podcast.
Yeah.
And swearing, actually. Do
the
swearing
men
swear? And
how many
and we get
fucking crazy things they say.
And the truth is, this is how we talk. And
it's been men who've criticized us. Now that
it has.
Yep.
So this is just,
we're all coming to a realization at the same time.
Something about the patriarchy.
It's just interesting. So
I'm smelling that lasagna. Sorry.
I also want to say, we're always learning, and every episode, we get a little bit better. Like, sometimes when I listen to an old episode, I'll almost cringe. You know, and it's not even that long ago.
No.
And it's just, we're always learning. We're figuring it out. This job is totally new to us still.
Right, yeah.
And so...
Who we are when you're listening to us is
who we are.
Who we are. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And so this is how we talk, and this is the way that we talk. And if we weren't recording a podcast and we were still just three people sitting around telling
exactly the same.
Yeah, it would.
Yep.
So
we want you to feel like you're in the room talking with us.
Right, because we love you.
Yeah.
Except for the people that don't like us, and then sayonara, bitches. Anyway, so that was our little Okay, so
should we start with our conversation cards?
Sure.
Yeah.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
Describe yourself in 3 sentences.
Fuck tick chits.
not
That's
3
usually-
words.
How about, okay.
3 sentences.
What if we describe each other in 3 sentences?
Oh.
I feel like that's always easier than doing it to yourself.
That's true.
Describe Tori in 3 sentences.
Tori is compassionate woman with the animals and people. She's a very sassy ass bitch, and I like that. And she has a good memory that I'm sad that I wish I had.
For real.
Yeah, this bitch remembers everything.
Lindsay and I are like caterpillars or goldfish with
Yeah.
our memory, and Tori's like a fucking elephant.
All right, so Emily is...
I'd rather have Lindsay do mine.
Emily is very courageous and adventurous. She's an amazing cook.
Oh, yeah, God.
And she is very motivated and dedicated. And if people don't know, Emily does all of our editing and stuff, and she will get on YouTube and watch 6 hours of editing videos to do things better. I don't have that kind of patience. So, yeah.
I love that.
Emily.
Okay. I'm going to describe Lindsay. My personal favorite is you're my favorite skinny little tart.
Oh,
Just in general, you're my favorite skinny little tart. And I also love that no matter what, if you text, this is not a sentence, but whatever. If you text Lindsay and you're like, oh, it's been a rough day or a rough week, or even if you're just like, I'm a little tired, she'll be like, just take the whole day off. Just live your best life. Go take a bath, go shopping. You do
Self-care.
you. And it's no matter, literally last night I was like, I don't know if I feel like finishing this story. And her immediate response was, you should just relax and take the night off. She's so aware of other people not being overwhelmed that she's like the little we need to take a little nap here. We just gotta calm down. We're just not gonna get overwhelmed. That was not 3 sentences.
No,
but oh my God.
No, but it also summed her up perfectly.
Pretty much.
That's perfect.
What topics do you prefer not to discuss with others? I have no qualms about speaking about anything. So I lied. Politics. I don't love talking to people about politics. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where, if I think about things like that too much, it will just send me into a spiral. And I'm kind of at a point in my life where I just am I just think everyone should live their best life, and I'm just here in my little world.
Torture yourself to know what's happening.
I just do not. I do not have the passion to want to know it freaks me out. And if I talk to people about their opinions, it just makes me more afraid.
Oh, I'm sure.
So.
Well, and I think too, we've gotten to this. Social media has made everybody think that their particular opinion is important.
Yeah,
and that everybody else cares about. Yes, and so at this point, I've kind of come to the conclusion. It's nothing I say is going to change your mind. Nothing you say is going to change my mind.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. I'm not asking you to accept it or hear, even hear it. So I'm kind of where you are, where I'm just I'm just here living my life, doing my thing the way.
I know people they're very passionate and really feel the need to say what they're thinking, whether it's online or in person. Someone, you don't ask and they just go off and you're like, oh my God, I literally don't care. Like, I don't care about your opinion about politics. Like, it just...
Yeah, no. Nobody wants
And I don't
Yeah.
want to sit here and listen to it.
And I think that we're all just a little burnt. I mean, the pandemic has definitely caused,
Dude.
like,
Ugh.
I don't care. I don't care about your vaccination status. You know, before we
Yeah.
were like,
I feel
and,
like after Trump became president, from that point, like from the time that Obama stepped down and Trump became president until now, it's still going. It's just been a political fucking hailstorm.
Yeah.
And it's just like too much.
And I just, you know,
Can't do it.
I can't, like, I don't care anymore.
It's just such, it's so black and white now that it's...
And, you know, and
it's
that's
exhausting.
Can't do it.
and that's one of the things about my job is that, you know, I don't always hold the same political ideologies as clients that we have, you know, and I will say the positive thing about that job is remembering that things are not black and white at all.
Yeah,
It's
everything's
like
gray.
way more nuanced than that.
Mhm.
And you know, people have opinions, but they're not necessarily the sum of the opinions that they have, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you might be a very kind person and have a really dumb point of view in my eyes, you know, or whatever. But that doesn't mean that you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
Unless you're racist, and then you are kind of a
Yes.
shitbag.
Mm.
But
If
other
you're a
than
piece
that,
of shit.
partially for me, one of the main reasons why, and I realized this when I was in South Carolina, or not South Carolina, I was in Texas, and had a friend who was religious ask me why I don't believe in organized religion anymore. And I explained my point of view and what I felt was a logical way, but as I was doing it, I realized, like, there is no way that you can explain to someone who has a firm belief in their faith
You're not going to change it.
that no. I wasn't even
Oh,
trying to
sorry.
change her mind. I was just trying to explain why I don't.
Right.
But there is no way that you can explain why you don't believe what they believe without sounding like you are shitting on what they believe because you
Yeah.
don't believe it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And so our friendship after that conversation was like never the same. And so I was just like, you know what? I don't.
I think it depends on who I'm talking to.
But that's a good point too.
Yeah.
Because I would talk to you guys about anything, and we have, and
Yeah. I think it's just
most of the
depends on
time,
who.
most of the time it goes well.
I know when to not say religious or political things with
I
certain
think
people.
I've
and
been
then-
thinking about it more too, and I think the other thing is, this isn't necessarily about this question, but when people are grouped into one group, like all Christians or
Yeah,
all
Jewish people,
whatever, yeah.
all-
And I mean, I think it's habit for all of us to combine that, but
Yeah.
when a lot of times opinions are based on like a generalization, which I know they have to be, but then, you know, I have a tendency of like getting defensive because I'm like, not everybody is like that. And I just feel like it's like wasted energy. You know what I mean? It's like wasted energy to and usually 9 times out of 10, if the person believes wholeheartedly what they're saying, they're not only what you said, but like they're just not listening. I feel like a lot of times.
It's kind of, I mean, unless you're both open just to know.
It takes a pretty strong, two very smart, strong people to be able to sit and have a discussion and be level-headed. And
especially religion. and
Because
politics.
I think people should be able to have those conversations. They're good conversations.
Absolutely.
They should
to have.
be. They should be. And actually, and I had that I had a conversation like that recently. You know what? I think it was with an Uber driver, if I'm remembering correctly. And we actually commented on that on the ride that, you know, we've lost this ability to have those type of conversations without getting defensive because everybody's on, like, it's like our whole bodies.
We're all guilty of it.
Yeah,
like,
our bodies are on high alert all the time. You know, especially
been weaponized in everything.
And so, but he and I were having, you know, we had this whole conversation and, you know, from different perspectives, and it was perfectly pleasant. And I don't even know how it came up. It just did. And, but yeah, we've lost the ability to have that skill. And I think and it takes practice, and it really takes some like, oh wait, I don't need to be reactive. I don't need to be defensive.
Like,
right
we're just
now.
having a conversation.
We're just,
and that's
this is-
okay.
yeah. And it's like, you are my Uber driver. I am probably never going to see you again.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it really doesn't affect me and so maybe that kind of took the pressure off when we were having that conversation, but like I said, just until we develop that skill again, I'm not talking to anybody about anything controversial. Just keep my opinions
and if
to
they bring
myself.
it up, then I'll maybe, but depends.
Yeah, and like you said too, it depends entirely on who I'm having the conversation with.
Well, and if you're talking to people about COVID, that, like, just as an example, that's something that's happening right now, affecting everybody. So, like, to see someone else's opinion on it really freaks some people out, right? Because they're like, oh my God, you're not vaccinated. Whereas, like, politics or things like that, I feel like can kind of seem like a big picture kind of thing. Whereas COVID is like something that's happening right now.
In front of you.
Right.
And,
yeah.
People will like disown people who aren't vaccinated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
It's like such a, the people are, you're
Some
right, on
people will-
high alert.
Like
freaked out.
everybody. Emily and I have both lost people to COVID, and like I don't.
It's a
care.
lot.
Like,
It's too much.
I can't anymore. I can't think about it. And no, I'm over it. I'm over all of it. I'm over it.
Over it.
Ready
for it to be done.
Okay. Well, so aren't you guys so excited you tuned in today?
Yeah. This is an easy one. What's something new you learned this week?
Okay. Well, I was gonna save this for the story that I'm gonna do. Our Patreon story for February. What month are we in? Jesus.
Oh, I know. And it's March.
I know, it's almost March. Okay. But so the story that I'm gonna be covering is in the world of the carnival circuit.
Oh,
and
carnival.
shows.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So what I learned was that people of short stature, or also known as little people, the M word that is often used to describe them,
It rhymes with Bridget.
correct.
Just so everybody's on the same page.
Yes. So that word was actually developed as a carnival sideshow word to describe somebody who
Like a
has
bearded lady
dwarfism.
and a...
Correct.
Oh.
Wow.
So that is where that word came from. And it is considered a slur, just like the N word or the R word. So please don't use it. But that was something that I learned because I actually Googled it, because I'm like, I know that the M word is not the right word, but I don't know what word we're supposed to be using now.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's where I found. So acceptable terms are dwarf, because the actual, like,
That's
it's
dwarfism.
Yeah.
little person, or person of small stature. And I personally like person of small stature.
Like person of color or person of... Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I learn this week?
You learned how to make homemade butter.
I was just going to say,
yeah,
I
this
learned how to
fucking
make
bitch.
homemade butter.
and syrups for coffee.
Well, did I learn how to do it, Tori?
I had nuts yesterday. So, sorry, sidebar. It's
I love
restaurant week in Spokane when we're recording this, which is
The best week of the year.
I was
best
gonna
week of
say,
the
yeah.
year. Several, like, tons of restaurants in our area do a 3-course tasting menu. And
In 3 price brackets,
yes,
too.
so there's $22, $33, and $44. The $44 one is new this year, I think.
It is, yeah. It used to be just the 2, I think.
So yesterday, so at my office, we take Restaurant Week very seriously. Like,
You
McKenna.
take restaurants very seriously at your office.
Yeah.
Actually, we really do.
You
Like
guys
3
do.
times a week, she sends us pictures of lobster rolls and fucking sandwiches, and she's like, "I'm miserable from all the food I ate." We're like, "Must be
Yeah,
nice."
we're like, are so sad for
Oh,
you.
God, we're sitting there eating
know.
like saltine crackers or something. Like,
Well, and if I was still working from home, that's what I would have been eating too. But yeah, so we went out. So we were looking, and we saw the menu for the Pentagon, which is out in Liberty Lake.
Oh.
So it's like a 20-minute drive from my office. And I was like, yeah, but it's in Liberty Lake. And my boss was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go.
I mean, he is
And
the boss. So
he
he's
is the
giving-
boss. So I was like, okay.
he's like, "Will not work for food. Leave work for food."
So yeah, so we drove out there yesterday, and oh my gosh, it was so good.
What kind of food does the Pentagon have? Is it just political themed food?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. They have several drinks that, like, there's like Now, I don't how do I say this? There was like
after we just talked about this.
yeah, I know, right? I mean, the menu definitely is politically themed, and so they have a drink called the Dirty Monica, and it's like a dirty martini.
That's amazing.
But what's even more amazing is that somebody, and this is on their menu, somebody on Twitter was like, I wonder if they asked her for her approval, and fucking Monica Lewinsky responded and was like, no, but I sure hope they'll take a portion and donate it to this charity.
Oh my
and that's
God.
on their menu.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
And so yes, it is politically themed, but like, and then they have they had a meme on the menu too that says the last 3 presidents, and it was like chocolate milk, orange juice, and just whole milk.
Okay, that's perfection.
So jokes are made on both sides
And
of
we
the aisle.
also
That's
have
nice.
in Post Falls the Oval Office
Right.
and the White House
Yeah.
Grill.
Yeah, and that's all the same
That's so-
family, Greek
Oh,
family that owns
that
that.
makes sense.
I haven't been to White House Grill in a minute.
So we went there, and what did I have? So I had goat cheese and apricot jam bruschetta. That was the
my
first
God.
course. And my boss and his business partner both had shrimp scampi, which was like, oh my God, it was so good. And then we got for like the main course, it was filet mignon, asparagus, and gorgonzola mac and cheese.
What,
Ooh.
bitch?
And then for dessert, it was a like roasted pear on mascarpone and like some kind of like caramel drizzle, candied walnuts served over ice cream.
Holy
Yum.
God.
And that was $33.
Fuck, dude, that's
Dude.
amazing.
It's so
It was
worth
good. One of the other desserts that you could get was, and this is what Grant got, was a raspberry truffle teeny.
Ooh.
So it was like vodka or like Godiva, white chocolate, dark chocolate, vodka, and then like raspberry something. And oh my God, it was, I mean, it was a
Delish.
dessert. There was vodka in it, but it was a
It was
dessert.
a dessert.
You couldn't taste the vodka.
The sign at the White House Grill in Post Falls, because it's the exit that I take to go to Brittany's house. Their
Oh.
sign currently says, "America, what are we mad at today?"
it.
And I think about
So, yeah.
look at it every time.
Anyway, I don't remember why I initially like randomly brought up
All right,
my
well.
lunch, other than just a brag.
That's okay.
But
Bitch. Do you know something new you learned this week?
yeah, I learned. I
Oh, wait,
did
you
my
said it, and I
did
said
my M
butter.
word. Yeah,
Oh,
butter and syrups.
I learned that back in the 1800s in your house you had a dead room. But it was like kind of the parlor, but that's why we have a living room. It's called the living room because that's where the
'Cause
live
it's
people
Oh
were.
my God.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
People had their
That's crazy.
dead people in their house for a week.
Well, yeah,
while
because
they-
and then you would like
All the, family would
viewings
come.
and yeah.
Yeah. I thought that
But
was,
I didn't think about that.
I know I didn't either.
Well, and we're gonna hear all about Lindsay's death museum
Yes.
experience, but I have one question. So, last question. In what ways is life better than you imagined it would be?
Oh.
I don't have any children.
No crotch goblins here.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, no kids.
Because I definitely thought, and at the time was more than like just wanted to like get married and have babies, and I
do the whole thing.
I would never have dreamed like this. This podcast is one thing
I was
that's
gonna
better
say,
than
yeah.
I mean, when we started, like that first text, between you and I, Emily, where we were
I
like,
posted it on our
yeah,
Instagram.
where it was like, it's either gonna be amazing or it's gonna
horrible.
be awful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And
love
I
that.
think it's been, I mean, I hope you guys that keep coming back and listening every week enjoy it as much as we enjoy sitting around and just shooting
Yeah.
the shit and laughing and
We do a lot.
telling stories. And I feel like we've all like gotten closer.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Lindsay have.
I mean, yeah, I know.
Just
You
kidding.
and I are as close as probably we're ever gonna get. Yeah.
Tori and I love to give each other shit, but we actually do like each other.
It's
You just
true.
can't see the faces we make at each other. It probably just sounds like we're like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
What's yours? What ways?
I think probably having a man like Bren.
Oh.
That was gonna
I
be my
think.
answer too. I love
And
being
the friends
married.
and the I really like my little life. It's real nice and all the people in it. And this dog just smacking his fucking
Smacking
lips
his
still.
lips. Yeah, this is some ASMR.
Yeah, he's got some.
He's like, get that microphone out of my face.
I was thinking last night, like, I live a fairly simple life, right? And
Yeah.
I am super happy with it. And I was thinking, like, while I went to Ellensburg, which I have a story for you, when I went to Ellensburg, and so I drove home, and Michael, I get in the house, and Michael goes, I cleaned the bathtub today. And I was like, oh, he's like, and when I say clean the bathtub, I mean like got in there and cleaned the bathtub. And then he went to 3 stores to buy me a bathtub plug so I could take a bath when I got home.
Oh
and I had
my
fresh
God.
towels.
Aw.
Yeah, and then like today he made a sourdough this morning and put a Fresca in my bag. Just like things that I know a lot of times when people are married, they feel like their spouse is like if something stressful comes up, they're like, how am I going to deal with this and how my spouse is reacting?
Yeah.
Whereas I know in my marriage, it's very like, how are we going to handle this together?
Yeah.
And it's just a lot. I hate to say the word easier, but like it's easier than I thought it would be.
It should be easy.
Yeah, and it
That's
should
the
be
thing.
easy.
Yeah.
Like I have never felt like I've needed to like deal with Michael in addition to a
Yeah.
problem. That was quote deal. It's always like how are we gonna handle this?
Now, see, I send you food that makes you jealous, but while your husband cleaned the bathtub so that you could take a bath, my dogs like to take cardboard out of the recycling and rip it up so
That
then
is
I
true.
have something else to clean.
That is true.
So,
that is true. That
you
is
know.
true. Well, do we want to get into our actual shoot the shit?
I thought this was shoot the shit.
It is, but we haven't actually like gone on the notes
Oh
yet.
yeah, the list.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
1. Have you guys watched the Boeing documentary?
Oh
No.
fuck no. But that's on my list.
Oh my god.
She's very upset.
I have watched it twice.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What is it on?
Netflix. Can I give you a little?
Yes.
I haven't been able to watch any TV because I've been working on this.
Okay, well that's
story.
fair. This is me playing Netflix for you.
Okay.
So, in 2017 or 2018, I can't remember now. 2 planes went down, one out of Jakarta and one out of I don't remember where, but it was
Malaysia?
Ethiopian Airlines.
Oh, okay.
And basically watch the documentary, but long story short, Boeing was bought out back in the day because they started in Seattle, right? And they had like this amazing culture. Everyone loved each other. It was very like Seattle, Silicon Valley, like kind of vibe. They were bought out by a company who came in and like, you know, everything
Fucked
was
everything
being
up.
done cheaper, faster, less employees. They laid off like 20% of Boeing employees.
Jesus.
And Airbus, which is the European, they're like the European version of Boeing. They're basically constantly in competition with each other. They had come out with like a brand new airplane a couple years ago. And Boeing was like, oh, fuck, we have to come out with a new airplane. However, the time it takes to build a new airplane and go through all the FAA regulations was like years. So they decided to take a 40-year-old airplane that we have been using this whole time and like add some fuel efficiency and like bigger motors or bigger the
Propellers.
thingy that goes under the wing. And is it called a propeller? I feel like it's only called a propeller on a propeller plane. I think it's like the engine on a Boeing 737.
I have
I
no
don't know.
idea.
The thing that goes okay. Anyway, so instead of building a new plane, they just added to it and they added this thing called an MCAS system because what would happen was they put the new I'm calling them engines under the wing, right? But they were bigger, so they had to be like lower and more forward. And so this MCAS system was so that if the plane was like leaning back from the extra weight, it would correct the plane to go straight. But what was happening
Oh my god.
was it was literally like heading towards the ground, and it would go down for 10 seconds and the pilots could pull it back up for 5 and then 10 and 5 and 10 and 5.
No.
And this system
That would
only
be a rough ride.
Oh my god.
Oh my fuck.
This system only had one sensor. So if it was faulty, you were fucked. And so the first flight went down in Jakarta, and they interviewed a lot of the victims' families, and they couldn't figure out why it went down, right? Until they found the black boxes, which, by the way, are orange. That's something else I learned this week. I don't know why they're called black boxes.
Why are they?
Oh, yeah, because wasn't it orange in the first episode of Yellow Jackets?
Yes. I think it was, because I remember thinking,
That's not because
that's not
black. Yeah.
because I texted Ryan and I was like, "Did she just do what I think she did to that black box?" And Ryan was like, "Yep, that show is good." By the way, if you've not watched Yellow Jackets,
Orange box.
so good.
So anyway, this flight went down, killed everyone on board. They landed in water, but they all died. And the pilot, who was Indonesian, Boeing came out and said if Americans were flying these planes, this wouldn't have happened. And the pilot, by the way, was trained in the U.S., so, like, fuck you guys.
Oh, my God.
And they just started blaming the pilots, saying they should have had, like, training on how to do this, and it was their fault. Well, Boeing never told any of the pilots about this MCAS system. So not only did they not know how to deal with it, but they didn't even know it was on the plane. And, like, in the plane manual, it was just an acronym in the back. It just said MCAS and, like, what it was. Didn't say what it did, anything. And it literally had control of the plane. And the second plane, because they all tried to ground them, because it's fucking killing people, they said no. So a second plane went down within 5 months. And that is, like, the most amount of plane crashes in that time frame, like, we've ever had. And they said if they would have kept it in the air, they would have had one plane crash every 2 years, which makes it the most dangerous plane in history.
Jesus fuck.
And they didn't ground them. And 2 planes went down. And this guy lost his daughter on the second one. And you can see he is, like, so defeated. Like, he is just like, I don't know why they let her get on that plane. Like, those planes should have been grounded. And that plane landed in the ground. And 600 miles an hour into the ground.
Oh, my God.
They hit the ground so hard there were no bodies to recover.
Oh, my God.
There were just, like, pieces of clothing and little, like, 10 pieces of airplane. And Boeing completely blamed them. There were internal memos saying pilots were idiots because they felt like they needed to use the MCAS system. And it said, like, keep it a secret from people because they would need, if they would have told the pilots about it, they would have had to pay money to train them on the system. And training the pilots is the most expensive part, and it costs money. Oh my God. It was just, like, mind-blowing. And it was literally just a little switch on the side of the airplane to where, like, if a bird hit it, if a balloon was flying, all these things that happen in the fucking air, it immediately, like, compromises it. And I can't imagine being in a straight airplane and it literally just plummeting towards the ground at 600 miles an hour.
That's terrifying.
And all the shoes they found were, like, little kids' shoes.
No.
Oh, God.
And, the CEO, like, stepped down, but he got $62 million when he stepped down as the CEO.
Yeah.
Just, like, the greed is like, astronomical. Like, you have to watch it. It's insane.
Why do these people do fucked up shit and then send emails about it? Why are we sending emails?
Why are we sending emails
saying everything we're doing that's fucked up? Like, do you
stop with the paper trail? Like, fucking, but really, like,
I'm glad they did. But
I joke when I say
just so
stop
you know,
with the paper
attorneys
trail.
can get all that shit in Discovery.
Well,
yeah.
So, I mean, and the thing that I liked about the documentary is they obviously didn't know what happened until they recovered the black boxes. And they do, like, a simulation of both flights and, like, exactly what happened. They use the transcripts of what the pilot said and, like, did an exact reenactment of what happened. And it's just crazy to think that Boeing
killed a bunch of people.
Like 500 people. Every single person on both flights.
That's
and, like,
what
they
we
didn't
know about. I mean,
I can't.
And they're going to be lying about who knows what else.
Boeing made a statement. They refused to be interviewed, but they made a statement, of course, saying, like, half the shit people are saying is untrue. And it was like the people who'd worked for Boeing for 30 years were like, when these new people came in, they were like, not only was the culture different, but it was like they left shit all over the airplanes, and there was, like, drinks and like things that shouldn't be around a fucking Boeing airplane. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, they just
nobody cared.
Carelessly put it together, and there's even a hidden camera part where some guy walks up to an employee and says, like, so-and-so didn't put something on the brakes because he didn't feel like it.
Oh my
He just, like,
God.
didn't have time. He's like, it's fine. It'll be fine. Like, I can't imagine how little effort goes into flying people on an airplane after watching that.
Yeah.
So if I'm ever on an airplane, I'm going to be like, is this a Max 737? Get me the fuck off of it. Is there an MCAS system? Yeah, I know what that is. I know what that is.
Should be grilling the
Oh my God,
attendants
yeah,
from now
seriously.
until the end of time.
I can't believe that it happened to, like, the fact that it was technically the most dangerous plane we've ever had. One plane crash every 2 years. Like, we never hear, I mean,
no.
that's like a large plane. That doesn't include, like,
The
little ones that go down. But
yeah.
an entire passenger airplane, I just can't. I can't. That was my story about Boeing. Fuck Boeing.
Oh my God. For real. Now I get why everybody's mad.
It's
Emily, give me some of that hot crime.
what? God damn it, is my husband on the computer again?
Did you see it?
Michael. No.
It says, give me some of that hot crime.
Hot with 2 T's. Hot crime. I say it's easy being married to him, and I take back. I take it back. Yeah, he's just, my God. True crime news. That little girl who was found under the stairs.
Oh, yes.
Did you guys read that article at all?
I did at the time.
Paisley Schultes. She has been missing since 2019, and she was found alive and physically healthy. I'm sure mentally she's really struggling.
Yeah.
Girlfriend was found under a staircase in a disgusting hole of a staircase.
This was not a Harry Potter.
No, it was not.
This wasn't cute.
How she was treated was probably a Harry Potter.
I was gonna say,
but
yeah.
So she was found at her non-custodial parents' house, which means they don't have custody of her. And from what I understand, the police had been there multiple times, and she was hiding under the stairs. They obviously told her to stay.
I was gonna say they're probably
completely quiet. And the only reason she was even found was because they were searching, and one of the officers saw little feet under the stairs.
God.
And they started like ripping it out, and I guess she didn't even move. Didn't make a sound, didn't move, nothing. Literally in the fucking stairs. So
I can't
for
imagine
2 years.
I can't imagine the conditioning.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that she got to be that quiet and not to move. And
oh my God, when someone's ripping apart a staircase and she's sitting underneath it and she's just being completely quiet, like, I can't. So we will keep you updated on what happens with that. I have so many questions, but that's all we know, is that she was found safe.
We might not know anything.
The other thing that is so insane that I heard on the way back from Ellensburg is they think they found Susan Powell's remains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. So that story is one of the worst ones I've ever heard. We need to do an episode on it, but
it's on my list.
Yeah, it
has ties to our area as
well.
Yep.
Yeah. So, they are thinking that her husband threw her body into a mine.
I mean, that's what they've been thinking.
Yeah, they
years.
just, so they searched it one more time and found a pair of pants, like a pair of slacks.
From what I understand, they've actually searched quite a few mines over the years, and this particular one, I can't remember, but there was a reason why. I don't. Oh, God.
Well, they paid these people to do this, I think, or something like that.
This
wasn't a part of like a.
No, it wasn't. They hired like these spelunker people to specifically look in this one for her, and that's when they found clothing that kind of resembled what she could have been wearing.
Like if she would have gone to work.
That she was wearing the last time.
Her parents, her dad, anyway. I mean, they're. I pray for them that it is her. I mean, we know at this point she's not alive.
They basically have no hope that she's. I mean, we all know what happened,
right?
Yeah.
When you hear the episode, you'll also know what fucking happened.
Yeah.
So they do think they possibly found her. We haven't heard, but it's very likely.
We're gonna keep a close eye on that story.
Yeah. And then I made a list, apparently, the Bumble date.
That woman. So this has been a big story. And I think we actually talked about this previously. But yes, there's a young woman that went on a Bumble date with an older white man that
Lauren Smith Fields.
That she met. And then she turned up dead, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about it." And like the police questioned, the police have done nothing with this guy. Like
they didn't even question him because they said he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
That's what they said about fucking Ted Bundy. That's what they say about all of them.
And then, to top it off, they didn't... I'm upset. You get to be upset.
No, it's bullshit.
They didn't even call next of kin before doing an autopsy.
What?
They did an autopsy.
Is that illegal?
Yes. And they didn't contact them at all. At all. The family noticed. They were like, "Oh my God, we haven't heard from Lauren in
Where was
a
this
week."
at?
Connecticut.
Weird.
She's a woman of color, just to add insult to injury, because we know how fucking...
Which is, I'm sure, why she was treated the way she was.
They didn't even contact next of kin, and they just put a note on the door saying, "If you're the family of Lauren Smith Fields, call this number." And they called, and they said, "Oh, we're sorry, your daughter's dead."
Oh my God, I would fucking sue.
She had been dead and autopsied already for a week.
I'd be so...
I can't.
Sue so hard.
And then I found out that she was a woman of color, and I was like,
"Oh.
This is why."
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Awesome. An old white dude and a 23-year-old black woman,
Well, and they, if I remember correctly, they paid to have an independent autopsy done.
Yes.
And that autopsy found...
differences.
Yes. Significant differences.
Do you remember what they were?
I don't.
Good news. Amid an internal affairs investigation, 2 detectives have since been suspended in relation to their handling of the deaths of the Lauren Smith Fields and Brenda Rawls, a 53-year-old black woman who died in Bridgeport, also under mysterious circumstances, the same day.
Okay. We got ourselves a piece of shit.
Were they suspended with or without
I
pay?
don't know.
God.
Well, I just wanted to say it, get it out there, because she needs to have her story told as much as Gabby Petito. Michael had his first episode come out last week on the Waco siege, and one of the responses we got was one that I need to talk more, which to everyone I've told that to, they were like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know."
Stare at you and
shock
and awe.
I'm like, I've never been told to speak more in my life. So, first of all, I want to say we had recorded that before, so it was more just that I heard it before.
You were rehearing it.
Yeah, I was rehearing it.
Well, explain why you had to re-record it and all that.
Hard drive whole thing, which, by the way...
That was on the hard drive.
It was on the hard drive that died, and I had it sent to the company, and they were going to fix it or, pull all the stuff, but they couldn't.
But here's the thing. He's not us.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
the
polar opposite of me, so...
Right. And so the way that, just like we joke, well, actually, we don't joke. We're very serious. We're not the podcast for everybody. His may not be the one,
Yeah.
But I just want people to understand that, he's doing a history, very serious show.
It's basically not related to ours at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just on our channel for now, solely because he's my husband. So it's not the same show. The photos are different. The people on it are different. The way it sounds is different. So
his
just
humor
be
is
aware
more
of that.
dry.
He has a very dry humor.
Which is great.
Which we think is really funny.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I married the guy. So
yeah.
As we do more, though, he'll definitely get more comfortable, and that will sound...
He'll get more sassy.
Right.
He's a sassy
He is a
motherfucker when he wants to be.
Yeah, he is.
Man. Yeah, but I appreciate the feedback, because that was really good feedback.
It
But
was
we just
good
wanted to
feedback.
say that, because I don't think we made that super clear.
No, we
Thanks,
didn't.
Pete.
Yeah, thank you, Pete.
Love you, Pete.
Love you, Pete.
And, yeah. And he doesn't have his own channel because he has drama happening with work right now. We just can't commit. So at the moment, they're coming out as we see fit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And it's great because it's a nice little treat for you guys. Little bonuses that we can put out there for you.
And then I had one more thing I wanted to talk to you guys about.
Yeah.
I have some... Wow. So
I
much
have
has
some
happened.
superpowers.
Yeah, seriously.
I now
mic just
control your
flopped
mic.
over.
Literal mic drop. I have some tea to fucking spill.
Spill it.
Spill.
It's been
Ow.
this
That
past
made
week
me
was I don't know what's going on up there in the cosmos, but
I'm tired
it was
of
a
it.
weird week
Pluto.
for family shit.
Pluto. I'm gonna look it up.
So the one that like, the planet that's not a planet anymore.
It's not even a real planet, and
Yep.
it fucks everything
It was
up.
just like, you guys keep me all the way out here at the end. I'm the smallest, and then
She
you
doesn't
kick
wanna be
me out
left out.
entirely. Decided that
Disney even names a fucking character
Yeah. So here's the thing.
after him.
But it's like the dumbest
After-
dog.
What?
Dude,
Yeah.
can we talk about how you put the fucking... You made the picture of me as a hurricane, and Oma commented on it and said Emilio, first of all. And then she goes, her grandfather worked for Walt Disney. Like, what a weird comment to put on there.
And then it was
Love
Heart
Oma.
Oma.
I'm so used to it. I don't...
She's like,
That's my favorite part. Love
Oma is
Oma.
legitimately, and like, I can't believe we have not actually a year in met her in the flesh, because
Yeah.
she is literally
She's-
and legitimately one of my favorite people in
I've
this
never
whole
met.
world.
Yeah.
She I drove her to Ellensburg, and I left her makeup bag in the car, and she was like freaking out because she needs her makeup, of course. And she sent me to her house. Obviously, I didn't know it was in the back of the car at the time. So she sends me to her house to go find it. And she made me FaceTime her, and she made me search every room in the house, including the garage. She's like, go out into the garage. And I was like, your makeup bag is not out there. She's like, Emily, go look in the garage. And she literally made me like, I'd be like on a box. She'd be like, oh, open up that box. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oma.
Where do you think your makeup bag is? And she goes, I wonder if someone broke it and stole it. I was like,
Aww.
Oma, no. I
Somebody stole my
promise.
gain off my porch. Fucking porch pirates. Well, at least your
Rude.
clothes will be clean.
Okay, so this is the drama.
Yes,
so
yes.
I drove Oma to Ellensburg. But I was in Ellensburg, not Ellensburg, Ritzville. Because,
Redfield.
Everybody stops in Ritzville to pee and get a coffee.
Yep.
And
Or you snack.
or get snacks or whatever. There's a gas station, a McDonald's, a coffee stand, Starbucks, whatever. So we go
And a
into
Zips,
Starbucks.
bitch.
Yeah. We go into Starbucks to pee. And first of all, Oma buys like 8 pastries while I'm in the bathroom. It was $17 of fucking pastries. And then she sent them all home with me. I don't know. Anyway, and so we're walking out, and I drive, and I am walking towards the driver's side of the car, and I notice that the car we're parked next to has a bunch of stuff in the passenger seat, like bag of pretzels and stuff like that. And then I notice
Oh, no.
in the back seat was a baby.
Oh.
And I was like,
And it's been like cold as fuck.
yeah, it's been
Up
really
here,
cold, and
around
I'm
here.
like,
Like in the teens.
at first I thought it was like a doll, and then I'm like, oh my god, no, that's like a real baby. And I'm like, Oma, there's a kid in this car. And this guy comes out of Del Taco.
Oh no.
That's where he is, okay? Right next to Starbucks. Comes out of Del Taco, swings the door open, goes, hey, move it along, and shuts the door.
To Del Taco or the car? Like, did he get in the car?
No, he was in Del Taco, opened it, told me to keep driving, and shut
Shut
the
the
Del
door.
Taco door.
Oh,
went back inside.
So he saw you.
He
pointing
saw
at
me
the
looking
baby.
in his car, and first of all, I'm like shocked. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what?
Yeah.
Did you do what the fuck?
That-
And I didn't know, obviously, that was his kid. And I'm like, why is this guy yelling at me? And he comes back out, and he goes, hey, that's my kid. Move it along. And I said, excuse me? Your fucking child is in the car. I'm sorry that I'm
Alone.
looking for his parent.
Yeah.
Like, sorry that I'm shook that it was probably, I don't know how old the kid was, 2 or 3. I don't know.
yeah.
Old enough in a car seat,
No,
and she
she-
had like a big puffy coat. She looked like a little fucking Michelin man. But I'm like, sorry you're in there eating your fucking salsa and guacamole while your kid is sitting out in this ratchet ass car in 20-degree
not
weather by
on,
her
yeah.
fucking self. I'm like yelling at this guy, and I'm like, dude, I said don't be a dick to me. I'm out here looking for the parents. Sorry. And he was like, he kind of like backed off, and he's like, okay, well, it's my kid. And I'm like, maybe don't leave her in the fucking car.
Alone.
And, oh my god, yeah, like what the
Yeah.
fuck? I should have gotten the guy's license plate, but I was a little, that's
Wait,
not
well,
the
yeah, it's
confrontation I
accepted.
thought I was
Oh
gonna
no,
have
that's
that day.
right.
You're in that point in your brain where you don't think logically,
And at first
you're
I'm like,
what the fuck?
why is this guy yelling at
Yeah.
me? And then I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
In
Like,
such a terrible way. because you're concerned.
God.
Because you're more concerned about his kid than he is.
Dude, fuck. I was like, almost like, Emily, get in the car. I'm like, shut up.
Oh my God, that's Bren.
Oh my God.
And I'd be like, no, get in the car.
No.
I would have been Emily. I would have been screaming.
Yeah.
I would have been like, I am calling the police right now.
Tori would have gone.
I would.
Hard.
I would have.
I drove back on the way back. He was not there. But
Do you want to talk about inventing Anna?
oh my God, yeah.
Before my thing.
Sure, we'll just talk about it really quick. Have you finished it?
I'm still on episode 2.
That's
I'm
okay.
having a rough time.
Have you heard the
sound
on
it.
TikTok?
It's
being interested in it. I'm having a hard time.
I do not have time for you.
It's really funny. So I was the first one to watch it, and I was texting these two about it, and I was just like, for me, after the first episode, and I realized that she was doing Anna's voice. Now, I still think, because I've heard the real Anna talk, I still think that hers is a bit exaggerated, to be honest. But I was just like, I don't know if I can watch the show and listen to this voice. Like, this is just driving me
Oh my God,
nuts.
it bothered me right away.
But
I think
also,
you
like,
guys talked about it, and I heard so much about it from.
So you were like
everybody else.
expecting it.
Yeah, I was just like, well, it's
She
her
sounds like
voice.
Tommy Wiseau. Like she sounds like
Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau.
I think the first 2 or 3 episodes were kind of slow. And you know me, like if there's a show that I like, man, I'm binging the whole thing, even if I'm up until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't stop. And Anna was definitely a show that I watched like 1.
You texted
then I
us.
watched 2.
You said,
Yeah.
"God damn, inventing Anna" at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
How are you awake?
because after the first like 2 or 3, it does. I thought it picked up, and then it
Does it get
I
started
was
to
hooked
get
from
better.
the beginning.
Okay.
I binged it in like no time.
You know, it's hard because in my head I was comparing it a lot to the Tinder Swindler. And that's sort of unfair because Tinder Swindler was a documentary.
Yeah.
Whereas Inventing Anna is a Shonda Rhimes show based on a true
Dramatized
story.
show,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's dramatized.
Everything in this show is real except for the parts that are completely made up.
Right.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking awesome.
I do
Well,
too.
and
I loved it.
It is
And the way
actually,
they showed it was
Yeah.
great.
it's at the beginning of every single episode. But you know, in looking up some research afterwards, like most of the stuff that is fictionalized is like the boyfriend. But there was a guy that
Right.
she was dating.
Right.
And like the whole Fry Fest thing, and
What?
the whole Fry Fest.
Fire.
Jesus.
I would go to a fire.
I was
the
like,
Fry
fries?
Fest though.
There's
Oh
a
my God.
I love.
I would.
I thought I heard you wrong. at
No, I
first.
said
love
it. I did it. Yes, the
I love
Fire Fest.
that she had to live with Billy McFarland.
Like,
She scammed Billy McFarland.
she really did. Like that
Which was
actually
like,
happened. Because I was just like, wait a minute. Like they found a way to work this guy in, and then it was like, no, she really did like live with him.
I saw the magnesis on the thing, and I was like, "Oh my God, is that Billy McFarland's apartment?"
Yeah.
Oh
so
my God, that's
but I think, you know, on one hand, like she's a horrible fucking person. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But that said, she's also brilliant, and I think had she gotten the money that she was after, like I think her whole idea would have been really successful. So
Mhm.
there's a part of me that's like, you know, people who are legitimately brilliant oftentimes don't get a chance because they're not in that inner elite circle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one
And
thought.
they also don't attribute to the society's like rules, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, I mean,
Like
so
they do
she's-
whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't matter about
Right.
if it's right or wrong, kind of.
Right. Yeah, she definitely
Just
has that.
end goal.
Yes, it's just the end.
You know how they say that like a lot of CEOs are psychopaths? Like they're
Yes.
not necessarily murderous psychopaths, but they're psychopaths. Like you
Yeah.
have to be that cold, calculated. Like she's definitely a psychopath.
Yeah.
She has no empathy
No,
whatsoever
she seems
for
like a
anyone.
true old narcissist
I mean,
with no other, with
but
nothing else.
Again, at the same time, she's brilliant and somehow, even in her like nastiness, was charismatic to these people.
She reminds me of Elizabeth Holmes.
But
Oh yeah.
But the thing that made me really kind of upset is how the Tinder Swindler, like, there's no way to hold him accountable for
Mhm.
what he did because lying is not technically illegal. and Anna went to prison. You know, I mean, she's out
'cause
now
she's
and back to her old scam too. But yeah, Finding Anna, watch it. It's good.
Inventing Anna.
Inventing Anna.
But you're finding
And
her,
Fry
too.
Finding
Festival.
Nemo.
You're finding
Fry-
Nemo.
With the fries.
Listen,
Finding fries.
I gotta tell you guys, I've had a seriously rough week.
She truly has.
And a story due on top of it.
Yeah.
So
Tell us about your...
I went to Seattle. That's not the thing. We live... We're 4.5 hours from Seattle. That's not exciting anymore. Emily told me that they had a death museum.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
I thought she told you.
Oh, no, Tori, sorry. Because you
Whoever
said it was
told you that.
closed.
it was
at
so
that
Heather
time.
and I were going to go.
That's right.
And it was closed for the month of January while we were there. There were two things that we were going to do that were like death related and
murdering a guy and also going on that tour. I can't remember which one it was.
I don't remember which one.
It's called the Seattle Death Museum, and you have to just look up Facebook and on the internets. And it's $12 a person. It's worth much more than that. So this guy is named Ross Allison. He's been on all the fucking things, like all of the ghost, all the paranormal. He's been on the Food Network for a couple things.
Ross Allison?
Yes. And I'll put his link in there. And he has a ton of books, but it's his own personal collection. And then he just puts it in here and he tells you about everything. And like when you start in the rectangle and it's just like 2 display cases of fucking dolls. And most are haunted. And
he was on a show called Freaky Sweets.
That's it. But it has to do with vaudeville. It was a dummy that this guy did in his likeness.
Yeah, see, this is why I am terrified of ventriloquist dummies. I think no.
Want to know what they used for the dummy's hair?
His hair.
No. Which is incredibly common back in the day. And he also made a dummy for his wife. And they were always together, the dummies. These 2 dolls were always together, and then sometime he gets this call from this lady, like, I found this dummy. I don't remember how she found it, but he was like, oh yeah, I'll take him, and looked it up, the whole thing, and he does a lot of movements. The dummy itself, its eyes will move, but it's the kind that can't move on its own. Like, you have to be moving them yourself manually.
Oh, like side to side.
Yeah, he'll move side to side.
No, I would.
And they took an aura picture, and it's got a fucking aura.
Aura, my God.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
no.
But he thinks he's just looking for his other half. He's just looking for the wife.
Where's the wife doll?
Dummy? They don't know. He's trying to find it. The Ross.
Yeah, Tori is so uncomfortable. She has a hood on. Like, all the rustling you hear is her physically covering her body up.
It's true.
She does it every time she's really uncomfortable, and she just sews herself up into her little clit hood. And
did you watched The Good Place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I feel like it's like when Sean or any of the other ones like cocoon, and it's like
yeah, she cocoons.
Like cocoon. I'm like physically trying to shield my body from the ick that feel. No, I have for my whole life been like, I don't like clowns. I will avoid clowns, but I am terrified of
Don't ever watch Dead Silence.
ventriloquist dummies. No,
But
and it probably comes from watching Twilight Zones as a kid because there were always those dolls always came to life.
I grew up with the Goosebumps.
I was gonna say the Goosebumps one ruined my life.
No,
yeah,
but like your mom with that no,
she texted to me all the time. Charlie McCarthy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's his name.
So there's that dummy, but then there were other like regular dolls that all had a story, and I did not take a picture of that because I did not feel comfortable taking a picture of them.
Yeah, like that's like bringing it home with you.
Yeah, I felt really, really icky.
Hold on a second. Do you know who Candace Bergen is, right?
Murphy Brown.
She was on like Sex and the City. She played Carrie's boss at Vogue.
She was in Miss Congeniality. She was the...
Look her up. You probably know.
Yeah, you'll know her face.
You'll know her face. But her father is the one that had Charlie McCarthy. And when he died, he left all of his money to that dummy and nothing to her.
I'd be so fucking pissed. This fucking doll lives better than me.
Okay, wait. So, she was in Sweet Home Alabama.
Yes, she
That's
was.
it, yeah.
We knew we'd hit a movie.
At some point.
Eventually.
I mean, eventually. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first part of the tour. You probably can... They do have clown dolls.
Nope.
There's one. I did not take a picture of that either.
Was it a small space?
It's very small, and you have to stand. And he's like, they're trying to find something bigger, but this is kind of all they have for right now.
Are there like any pictures of inside online, do you think?
No, because, I mean, there are some.
But not really.
Yeah, because he doesn't want too much to
Oh,
go
yeah,
out
yeah.
without.
Yeah, because, I mean,
That's the point of a museum.
Right.
Yeah, and you can't
Part of it is
record
being
him
there.
saying stuff about the things. So, like, I took, like, little quick videos with no sound, just of the stuff. Or
right.
little pictures. He was totally fine with that.
But my favorite part is you telling us how you channeled Emily and I.
I truly
Yes.
did. I asked
Yes.
all the questions and all the things he was just about to say.
I love that. How
And I
did it
was the
feel?
one going, ooh, ah.
Oh my
or
God.
I was so,
How did it feel being us for a day?
it was awesome.
Look
Because
at-
he was
she's getting all blushing. She's all red.
I love it.
not used to being like that. He seemed to be like, oh, thank God she cares. And that kind of.
Right.
Because, I mean,
That's
Brennan,
part of the reason I love asking people
Trish
questions.
and Megan, they're just more shy. They're just more reserved, which is
Right.
that's just who they are.
Were
It's
you
fine.
the only ones that were there, or were there other
Yes.
people? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just us four. I think it's 6 at a time. I'm
So
not
he
quite
like
sure.
leads the tour?
Yeah.
It's like a Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
he'll go to each thing that he has and tell you about it. And then
That's
if you have
awesome.
other questions, he'll answer it, but it's all of his own personal stuff. So, and then it all, after that, it goes into the whole, how the mourning period was in the Victorians and how that all went down.
With the pictures.
I will
and
never
the-
think of a living room the
Dude.
same way.
I know.
know.
And he had like outfits of what the women had to wear, and women had to mourn for like 2 years.
Mhm.
Had to.
And would have to, like, they could only wear black.
Yes, and it depend on who died. And
Right.
just like there's all these rules, and they made beautiful works of art from their hair, the dead person's hair.
Nope.
It doesn't even look like hair.
What does
It's
it look like?
Like amazing little flowers.
Weird.
And they would make like this kind of oval, I don't know, plaque with that as a sign of the person's death. And
I mean,
put
it's
it on a
almost-
family wreath.
Right. That makes sense. And I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's really no different than keeping ashes or
Or yeah.
anything else.
I'm totally throwing Alma under the bus. She does shit like that all the time. She has Opa's hair in a bag in the
Yeah.
safe, and she has hers cut. I think she's shown it to me, and she used to tell me as a kid, you should take your hairbrush and like toss all the hair outside so birds can build a nest with it. And
That's
so she will
yeah.
do that
That's
with.
so cute.
She did it with Opa's hair because she thought it was a beautiful thing.
Aw.
It's just I'm just so used to Oma being so
They would
weird.
have like a little lock of their hair, and it would be behind a brooch of kind of their
Mhm.
face, or
Huh.
My mom used to keep, I think, like the kids, like, well, in my baby book, I think there's like a lock of my
Yeah.
hair, but they would put stuff like that,
Right,
like
my
press
mom
stuff
has
in
that.
like Bibles and
yeah.
shit.
It was such a. We did so many rituals around that time.
People keep a circumcision, the little
Yeah.
thingy, right? According to Meet the Parents or whatever the movie
I never
was.
watched that movie.
Oh, they
I
found
hate
it in the
those
baby
movies.
book, and they flip open the baby book, and it flies
Flies
up
out.
and lands into the fondue pot and starts
I think that's-
sizzling.
That's
I
the
hate
that
those
one's
movies.
Meet
I
the
think it's
Fockers.
Meet the Fockers, yeah.
Those movies make me mad.
Why?
They're so stupid. I don't know. I'm just like, oh, another fucking brain joke. That's how
I love those movies.
I
That is
know.
so funny.
And then there's the picture taking. You had
Of
to be
dead people,
really
right.
rich to be able to get a
Oh, I guess
picture
so.
done and taken. So that's why a lot of people would
Did
pose
Pearl
with the
Lusk
dead
take the picture?
people.
So it was actually a shotgun. Just kidding.
Well, and it's interesting because, you think about, because one of the things, if I had had more time, I really wanted to, when I was telling that story, kind of go into a little bit of the history on photography and x-rays, because
Yeah.
even in the 1940s, when that story took place, it was still relatively
Newish.
new that you could have pictures taken that you weren't
Yeah,
having
you have
to
to go to
be
a studio or like a whole big thing
right,
set up.
with the whole guy under the hood and the
Yeah. Yeah, so
guy
he
under
had
the
some
hood.
pictures of like the dead people propped on these things with the family around it, and you really truly can't tell in some of them who's dead and who's not.
Well, that's because Victorian people
Look dead.
all look dead anyway.
It's true.
It was not
Ghastly.
I love Queen Victoria. My name is Victoria. I feel that connection. But the Victorian era was not one that
I would never want to live it, but I like watching stuff about it. But I don't want to. I'm good.
It just makes me think
women
of the
were
others.
also just property.
Whenever I think about the death photos, I just think about the movie The Others.
Oh yeah, that's true. Death mask replicas, which was really cool, and all the stuff that you used to embalm back then.
Yeah,
and
they had
wine.
that at the Death Museum that I was at too.
That was really cool.
Rusty tools and shit.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I had a book called The Encyclopedia of Everything Nasty.
This is not surprising.
My mom still has it. I think it was the best book. It had the most random bullshit in it. But I learned things like a certain eel, you have to break its jaw to get it off of you. A moray eel, you break its jaw to get it off of you. I learned that Ring Around the Rosie.
Yeah.
The pocket full of posies, ashes, we all fall down.
Yeah.
Death.
Black
pocket full of posies.
So much death.
Well, because they would put that in you to make you not smell bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
And what was it? Because the plague would give you a red ring.
Yes.
So crazy.
Yeah.
And they only started to embalm everybody during the Civil War, because they couldn't ship back a dead body to the family, and it would just be soup.
Right,
by the time they would ship it
away.
away, or if they even found the body in the first place.
And they had so many bodies that they had to deal with.
And they would just also bury them right there where they were killed. But they would have to embalm them to send them back.
Embalming is fascinating.
Which is
fascinating.
Growing up in Pennsylvania, there's a lot of Civil War graveyards around where it's literally, like people are just buried where they
fell.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought how sad it is that we have completely gone the opposite way of honoring people who have died. Like, it's like real quick. Come on, let's go. Let's have the funeral. Be sad. You can't be sad anymore.
Right.
And with that, you could be sad. And
I mean, they actually
do all these rituals.
Made a point to mourn.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think of like work. Right? Like, you're not going to get that time off to, like, mourn someone. So
and they want you back, back
in most places,
normal.
If it is an immediate family member, husband, child, parent, or, you get 3 days.
Yep.
And if it's, like, grandma and uncle, you get maybe a day.
Yeah. So, Helena Hutchins' husband is suing Alec Baldwin, and I think that his production company, but he just talks about how he was taken into, like, Alec took care of him right when it happened, and they are seen hugging, but then the husband saw the interview that Alec did saying, I didn't do anything wrong and I didn't pull the trigger, which is not true.
Right. And I'm the victim.
Yes, and did the fake cry, and he was fucking furious.
I don't blame him.
So he's suing, and he did an interview, and I'll watch that.
Meanwhile, Emily, you're downstairs getting the lasagna.
You're poking our lasagna, Garfield. Garfield. For the day.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
We love you.
Fucking love you.
We do love you.
Love it.
We wouldn't be here without you.
We wouldn't.
Well, actually, we might.
we might. Nearly as.
It wouldn't be as fun. And
yeah.
I am absolutely loving everybody getting on the discussion page It's been really fun to post things and actually be able to talk to you guys about what you think about stuff that
is happening. My favorite part is talking to you guys about it.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah, we get really stoked when you message us.
Yeah. I get excited when people are talking about things you're interested in too.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
I love the way that you said that. I noticed something about your voice was really cute there. I love it when people talk about things that I want to talk about. See?
I knew you were going to fucking say that because I almost said it. See? Okay. Peace out, Girl Scouts. See you next time. Love you. Bye.
Remember who you are and what you represent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember who you are, bitch.
Goodbye. Yeah, bitch. Goodbye.
Woo.